All right, welcome to today's explainer. If you've ever felt, completely overwhelmed by the sheer unyielding volume of gossip, wild hot takes, and just bizarre news flooding your timelines every single day, well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to take a step back and try to impose some much-needed order on a wonderfully chaotic stream of internet pop culture. We're breaking down a rapid-fire commentary feed that perfectly captures the whiplash of modern scrolling, piece by piece, so we can understand exactly what makes this kind of content so incredibly addictive. Let's get into it. We're kicking things off right at the source material's opening hook. It's Jess with the Mess, and my news is real. This instantly sets the stage. It establishes the raw, unfiltered, and highly opinionated flavor of the commentary we're looking at today. In a world full of heavily polished news anchors and carefully curated influencer grids, this persona just cuts right through all that noise. It's a promise that things are going to be chaotic, but authentically chaotic. The commentator is basically acting as our tour guide through the daily digital sludge.
Okay, let's dive right into our roadmap. We've organized this rapid-fire feed into 3 highly digestible themes. First up, celebrity mishaps and mix-ups. Second, culture clashes and kids. And finally, bizarre internet headlines.
Starting off with Section 1, Celebrity Mishaps and Mix-Ups. Now, celebrity culture is literally the backbone of the internet scroll. In the span of just a few moments, this feed fires through Kim Kardashian, rapper Blueface, Whitney Houston, and Halle Berry. Boom, boom, boom. There is zero time to linger. You're expected to know exactly who these people are and immediately process the commentary before you're violently shoved into the next pop culture update.
This segment actually kicks off with what should be a completely mundane celebrity sighting, Kim Kardashian on quote-unquote mommy duty with her son, Saint. But it's the host's reaction that turns it into internet fodder. She gives it this passing, rapid dismissiveness, practically rolling her eyes at the non-news aspect of it, muttering about letting it load and just moving to next. It perfectly captures our own shared exhaustion with overly orchestrated paparazzi shots of the rich and famous just doing everyday things.
But when a celebrity actually steps out for a major event, the internet's magnifying glass is completely unforgiving. We get this hilarious yet totally exasperated critique of rapper Blueface on the red carpet. The host points out a glaring detail. His tie is just a total mess. And her critique isn't even just about his fashion choices. It calls out his entire crew. As she notes, neither his mother, his father, nor anyone in his entourage bothered to fix his tie before he got in front of the cameras. It transforms a simple photo into a genuinely funny commentary about the people he surrounds himself with.
Now, accuracy, that often takes a backseat to engagement in this space. Take this bizarre viral internet mix-up where a headline boldly claimed the late Whitney Houston was spotted out and about in New York City. The glaring problem? The photo attached to the article was very clearly of actress Halle Berry. I mean, it's the exact kind of blatant misinformation that runs rampant on social media purely to generate cheap clicks and instant outrage.
But honestly, the actual news item isn't the real draw here. It's the commentator's reaction to it. She delivers this deadpan, utterly exhausted line, "Okay, I was raised to say, bitch, what the fuck now?" This right here is exactly why people tune into this kind of content. They don't just want the facts. They want a surrogate. Someone to express the exact level of sheer exhaustion and disbelief they feel when scrolling past such obvious clickbait. All right, moving right along to Section 2, Culture Clashes and Kids. Stepping away from the red carpets for a second, we hit some cultural friction. The feed tackles a complaint brought up by Diamond Brown, who shares a child with Chris Brown. She made a post complaining about the calendar overlap of Father's Day taking place during Pride Month, expressing some frustration over the timing. This is a classic internet flashpoint, taking 2 entirely unrelated calendar events and framing them as a modern cultural conflict.
But sidestepping the cultural debate entirely, the host delivers a blunt, shut-down response to the complaint. She simply states, "Girl, leave the gay out of this." And then she immediately undercuts Diamond Brown's high ground with a quick jab about her being baby mama number 3. It's a prime example of how internet commentators will use personal history to swiftly dismiss someone's ideological complaints, spinning a potential cultural debate right back into messy celebrity gossip. Next up, we see a really fascinating generational clash. The feed pivots into a debate about children's entertainment, contrasting the modern, hyper-popular era of YouTube's Miss Rachel with the nostalgic, beloved eras of Barney the Dinosaur and Mr. Rogers. It really asks us to stop and consider just how much the media we raise our kids on has shifted.
This whole discussion gets sparked by rapper Fredo Bang, who publicly questioned exactly what makes Miss Rachel so special, considering she's on every damn day in his house. The host breaks down this critique by comparing her to icons of the past. She points out that, yeah, while we all loved Barney, he was ultimately just a fake, imaginary purple dinosaur. But Mr. Rogers is praised with the utmost respect as a quote-unquote real one. It's this highly subjective, totally fascinating hierarchy of children's television icons being debated in real time.
Sticking with the theme of childhood, the feed brings up a news item discussing toy lines that are changing the race of certain classic characters to black. The stated goal here, as reported, is representation, so that kids can have toys of their favorite characters that actually look like them. It's a pretty significant shift happening in retail and marketing right now.
Rather than debating the broader cultural theory behind it, the host uses dark humor to critique the actual physical end product sitting on the shelf. Looking at a specific doll, she jokes, "He looks scared as shit, Black, like he on his way to jail," adding that the cops sold separately. It highlights how corporate attempts at inclusion can sometimes result in visually awkward products, making them super easy comedic targets.
Time for our final category, Section 3, Bizarre Internet Headlines. I want you to just think about this massive number for a second. This is a complete pattern interrupt, a moment to pause and appreciate the sheer absurdity of the internet. Because this number represents the amount of women one man decided to marry at the exact same time in our next headline.
And here is the punchline of this incredibly wild internet story. After marrying 4 women simultaneously, the groom allegedly discovered that all 4 of his new wives were transgender. It's a story so sensational it barely even feels real. And the host's reaction? A swift, fast food-themed joke welcoming the guy to 5 guys. It's just a perfect example of how modern commentary doesn't bother investigating the bizarre. It simply turns it into a quick punchline and immediately moves on.
Because, there is always something else right behind it. Case in point, an abrupt, almost entirely context-free news item announcing that Ripley's Believe It or Not is displaying Michael Jackson wax figures. It's tossed in at the very end, showcasing exactly how randomly the internet serves up information to us. One second, it's a sensational marriage story, and the very next, it's an update on a wax museum. There is no segue, there is no connection, there is only the feed.
Which brings us to our final thought. We've just navigated this dizzying maze of celebrity fashion critiques, generational TV debates, and utterly absurd headlines. So why is this chaotic, messy style of pop culture consumption so incredibly addictive? Are we genuinely looking for real information, or are we just seeking the relief of a comedian confirming how crazy the world is right now? The next time you find yourself endlessly scrolling through your own feed, ask yourself, what exactly are you hoping to find in the mess? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep asking the right questions.